How about now? Can you hear me now? I apologize about that. I need an IT guy here working for me. If you're going to volunteer, let me know. On just tracking, again, severe weather going across the deep south so far this morning. Been tempted a couple of occasions to pop on at times. Storms, though, the threshold just weak enough for me to sit back and watch them. And wouldn't you know it, we've got another, we've got someone else. Give me a moment here. Hey, Jerry. Yeah, I am. I appreciate you calling in. So, Jerry Edwards, everybody. Someone just pointed that out, so I think I've got the mic up now. Can you hear? Do you have YouTube up? Yeah. Okay. I think we're back up, buddy. But I appreciate you reaching out. Okay, man. Talk to you soon. Yeah. Bye. All right. That's one of my dear friends, Jerry Edwards. Also, sometimes will moderate this program on here. So we'll get to the radar information in just a moment, but I did want to explain why I'm on because we do have a conditional severe weather risk with the potential of additional tornadoes. We think we've seen some so far. And again, thanks for letting me know that we had an audio issue. So everything should be good now. Good now. That says Vicky from Kevin Leroy. And then John also on here. You're all good now. Excellent. Great to know. So let's go ahead and get you guys updated on what we know about the situation. And I think currently we're on a down tick when it comes to severe weather. I want to take a quick look at the broad view. Here's a look at the situation according to our Kappell cast radar. And that's showing you a large area of some very intense thunderstorm development. We have had tornado warnings in association with these. But overall, the tornadic tendency seems to be downticking at this midday hour. Storm Prediction Center releasing their new outlook, and I'll have that for you coming up here in just a moment as well. I think that the tornado threat will redevelop later into the afternoon, and during this broadcast, I'll show you where I think that is more likely. Right now, we've got the activity making its way into New Orleans, Louisiana. Zooming on in. This is just a thunderstorm. They're not even tagging it as severe. The severe weather has been to the north. The tornado warning that was in effect, that's going to be allowed to expire. That is just north and west of Lake Pontchartrain. All this activity moving steadily off towards the east. We'll move it on over to our analyst radar as we take a look at the activity making its way into the New Orleans area. You can see here on Analyst, we've got just some showers and storms making their way into New Orleans. Again, I'm not seeing any severe winds, so no problems associated with that. This is the storm to the north of Lake Pontchartrain, approaching Madisonville that had the circulation with it. Potentially, it did drop a tornado earlier, but right now it's kind of down ticking. It's losing a little bit of its momentum, and oftentimes in a scenario like this, that will occur, where a storm will gain some strength at times during, say, the morning hours, but because of mixing and other influences of other showers and storms, it may weaken around midday. But if conditions prevail, it could lead to additional strong, severe thunderstorms, and maybe we think that there is going to be a conditional tornado threat again as we go throughout the remainder of the afternoon. So let's get to. Got 24 on here right now. Okay, the news unit. Can you go live with me for a meteorological discussion? I need to know more about you. Is GR Analyst better than GR Level 3? Yes, absolutely. Analyst is better because it gives you Level 2 data, which is a much higher resolution data than you will get on Level 3. And do you have WSV3? I did. All right, we can talk more in just a moment. Again, I just kind of want to bring everybody up to date. And okay, so it looks like new information coming in from the Weather Service, and they're saying that they're going to allow the tornado watch that was in effect to expire. Okay, so they're going to allow that to expire. I think that was at 11:30 Central. So that should be going away. Oh, and they did. They trimmed it back. What they did is they went ahead and it looks like they reissued it for areas further to the east. So the gentleman that was asking about WSV3, that's what you're looking at right here. These programs, two different programs. GR Analyst or GR Level 2 Analyst is a completely different animal from what you can get out of WSV3. Both of them provide pros and cons when it comes to tracking real-time weather. I would say WSV3 is more versatile when it comes to weather in general. It gives you many more tools, including some model data that you can tap into, meso-analysis, but it doesn't do as great a job as handling severe weather when it comes to strong, severe thunderstorms with damaging wind potential and tornado potential. It's a little more, it's not as easy to use. It doesn't have as many tools or functions. But it's still a good tool to use. And here's a look at that tornado watch. It's been issued for southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and the coastal waters. This is going to go until 5 p.m. Central Time. So let me show you where I think the area will have some concern for the potential of tornadic development here. And as I'm seeing that, I'm seeing a rotating thunderstorm now south of New Orleans, but I think it's this area here, maybe south of Hattiesburg and just to the east of New Orleans. So this area here, maybe towards Mobile later in the day. I think that's the area we need to watch. We've got an area of low pressure just to the west. That's the reason we're seeing this spinning motion in the atmosphere. The winds are backed out of the southeast ahead of that line. So this is an actual cold front here. There's a warm front that's here. Anywhere around this warm front where we get heavy development today, that could lead to that potential, again, of more rotating thunderstorms. Something we'll want to watch closely. I've got King Isaac on here. Hello to you. Thank you, Jacob. That's Jacob Gooding. He's one of the moderators of this stream. I appreciate you as being on here as well. Jacob knows this area fairly well. He's not too far away from there. Kevin Leroy, Vicky Pavron on here. And appreciate you guys stopping by. Again, just kind of being... Derek Rose, can hear you now. Thanks, Derek, for stopping by. Again, preliminary, I've been watching these storms this morning. As mentioned, I was tempted multiple times of jumping on, but I wanted to wait until there was a higher level threat or until it got closer to New Orleans, which it did. Unfortunately, not as a legit severe threat. New Orleans is seeing the storms right now. Go back over to your analyst radar. Take a look at that. And then I want to show you some damage coming in from the Baton Rouge area from earlier. But New Orleans, I mean, the thunderstorms don't even look that strong, honestly. So that threat is going to lift to the east, as mentioned. But Baton Rouge earlier, and I want to put this into motion for you. Take a look at these storms. Several tornado warnings earlier. Go back to this circulation not far away from Baton Rouge. This one likely did touch down. This was about an hour ago. Let's see what's the time on that. Yeah, so that was a little while ago. That was actually about 2 hours ago when it was rolling through and just to the east of Baton Rouge. It was likely producing a tornado, and I can verify that because we did get some pictures that came in through the internet. Let me get that up, and this was on my Twitter feed. You can see a car tossed upside down. This is at Baton Rouge General Hospital on Bluebonnet. And it looks like there were multiple cars that were tossed around in this. And that's going to be a bad day for someone. No reports of injuries, fortunately. And again, all this kind of spun up real fast. Oftentimes, these type of scenarios will. Here's some more damage. Possible tornado damage. This is in Galvanez area off of 933. This is coming in from Jesse Grunkel. Somebody looks like they lost their place set. And wow, is that maybe a sign or a roof? I can't tell. Somebody's shed maybe. So yeah, we do believe that there was tornado touchdowns, probably multiple earlier. Again, quick spin-ups, very difficult to stay in continuous coverage with because they come down so fast and Oftentimes they lift so fast as well. But there is going to be that risk. Again, it returns to the area here later on today for that part of. Yep, Jacob just showed that the car slipped in Baton Rouge. And then King is on here. He's reporting some flooding in Oklahoma City, which is good to know. Is that the case? I don't know. I've been watching Oklahoma City today. I don't think there's much of a flood or a severe threat there, at least not today. There's a look at the latest with our analyst radar, and then we'll go back over to WSV3. We're loading up the severe potential for the rest of the day today. Again, the Storm Prediction Center has went ahead and they've released their updated convective outlook. Okay, and I'm loading that for you guys right now. I will also mention that there's quite a bit of a severe risk from San Antonio to Corpus Christi. That's for primarily later on this afternoon. All right, so this is what we're monitoring for the now, that tornado risk. I think it will return for parts of the Deep South a little bit later on into the afternoon. That tornado watch does continue. Here's a look back over at WSV3, showing you the areas of concern, and they're keeping it just under a slight risk. Again, so what we're talking about here is likely isolated incidents of tornadoes out of those same type of thunderstorms that can produce those quick spin-ups. So this is the actual convective risk. What I'll show you is our categories. So category for probability of wind here, it's low. It's actually 5% or less. Probability for hail, non-existent. Air is too warm. It's too warm aloft. But here's a tornado threat, and it's a little better. That's a 5% for tornadoes. Does include New Orleans, as I mentioned, out towards Mobile, up towards Hattiesburg. So that's your 5% risk. Let's go back over to categorical, and we will investigate South Texas. That threat south of Houston primarily, from near San Antonio to Victoria and Corpus Christi. That's where you have an enhanced risk. Now we take a look underneath, and this is the actual risk of wind. Not much of a wind threat there. Oh, yeah, never mind, I take that back. It was delayed. That is the threat. That looks like a 30% for wind. Let me verify that. Okay, yeah, so Storm Prediction Center for today, South Texas. That is primarily wind. There's going to be a bit of a hail threat with that too, but that's a 30% for wind. Here's your hail threat. That's a 15%, and they're really not throwing out tornado at all. This is associated with an upper low, so that does make sense to me. Okay, so here's a look at the bigger picture, and we'll put back on the radar for you in just a moment. And also, I want to look at some meso-analysis numbers as well. And meso-analysis basically breaking down what the atmosphere is doing on a real-time level. And I'll have that for you coming up here in just a moment. In the meantime, let's take some comments or questions that you may have about the program. This is a channel just launched a few weeks ago dedicated to providing real-time severe weather coverage in higher-end events or events that are going to be impacting large metropolitan areas. And sometimes I'll come on to provide a forecast discussion, and that's generally what this one is. It's more of a forecast discussion, I think, than anything else. Now, while I'm talking to you, I am seeing a couple rotations that are developing. One storm seems to be redeveloping. That's the one that's just north of Lake Pontchartrain, approaching Madisonville. That may be getting a little better organized. Let's see, put that in motion for you. I'm going to reassess its storm relative motion while I'm talking to you. And yeah, there's a circulation there. I don't think it's very tight, but it might be tightening a little bit. We'll watch that. That's the Weather Service chiming in. See what they're saying. Oh, they issued a marine warning for Lake Pontchartrain and Lake, I don't know, Maurepas? I have no idea how to say that word. So that we'll need to watch this one here. This one may have the greatest severe threat if it holds together after it crosses over Lake Pontchartrain, which I assume it's going to. With heating, that one may become a storm of interest. I do see that flooding in Oklahoma City now, by the way. Take you back over to our other radar unit. Before we take those comments and questions, give you guys kind of a broad perspective. And you can see, really, it's, the north central U.S. is quiet. Everything's across south central, southeastern U.S. The main risk down here, you can see all the marine warnings, by the way, in blue. Oklahoma City, these are non-severe thunderstorms, but there is some flooding that's ongoing. We'll take a look at some surface conditions. Temperature is generally too cool for severe weather across Oklahoma City. Heavy rain with lots of flash flood warnings. That's in the flashing green from Enid to Oklahoma City proper, Kingfisher, approaching the Stillwater area. And then rain for Memphis. You can put this in motion here. You see everything kind of spinning around the main low, which is down here to the south. And that may provide, again, that conditional opportunity or that conditional tornado threat once we go a little bit later into the afternoon. That threat's going to be east of New Orleans and probably south of Hattiesburg, maybe towards the Florida Panhandle later on. So this is the area that I'd want to watch. All right, and let's go ahead and take a couple of questions. Does WSV3, they both have capability of going at a more granular level. The news unit's asking about the street level accuracy, but I do know that you need to load different shape files to get that capability. It's possible, you just have to know how to do it. Yeah, Jacob, thank you for that. Okay, water rescues, you say, in Oklahoma City. I appreciate that coming in from my moderator. Got about 29 people on the program right now. Again, this is a lower end severe threat, but one that I wanted to jump on. Maybe cover for a little bit while you guys may be curious what's happening out there. Severe weather, certainly nothing like we've seen here in recent weeks across the plains, the Midwest, the Ohio River Valley, where we've had just so many outbreaks of violent thunderstorms and in some cases violent tornadoes. This one, I don't think it's going to produce large tornadoes, but I think it can produce some tornadoes, so which is why we're watching it. Winds are backed, and there's a few things that we need to monitor. Temperature is very warm, 80s for the most part, again, with a very soupy air mass that's making its way into the area. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our meso-analysis. And again, just kind of it's going to show us what the atmosphere is capable of. Uh-oh, don't like that sound. There you go. They're going to issue a tornado warning now. That's on that storm that we were tracking for you. This will be from Madisonville, so I'm going to switch gears, go back over to our analyst radar. Tornado warning has been issued. That's the storm we were just watching. That's coming in directly from the National Weather Service. So the storm of interest is here. The warning's not on the map yet. It's coming. Oh, and I see why. There it is. Little spin up, but it is. It's cranking. All right, on the right side of your map, that is your velocity. I've got it tweaked so that it's showing us again what it's doing. Gate-to-gate motion of 80 mile per hour. So winds are moving like this, 80 mile per hour, and that's enough. Elevation on this is only 1,400 feet, so this is pretty close to the ground. There's the tornado warning for Madisonville, Covington. Again, I was watching the storm thinking it's getting better organized, and Sure enough, the National Weather Service agrees. So, if you live in Covington, Madisonville, you're going to see it first. And let me get some roads on here. Looks like that's Interstate 12 on the north side of Madisonville. So Madisonville, you're going to see it first, and then it's going to, if it holds together, it's going to cross over. So that's 12 that runs east to west. Okay, now it's confirmed. So the reason that it turned pink is because the Weather Service says they've got eyeballs on it. So there's a tornado that's in progress. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual warning itself. It says the tornado warning remains in effect until 12:15 for west central Tammany and eastern Tangapoa parishes. Confirmed tornado was located near Madisonville, 9 miles southwest of Covington, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. And all the standard wording. You want to take cover now, move to an interior room on the lowest level of your home. Not too many basements in this part of the United States, so just want to get inside, put as many walls between you and that potential threat as possible. So I'm going to investigate the circulation here a little bit more. It's spun up fast, like we said. These storms have been doing. You can see it really kind of tightening up there. Let's see what normalized rotation is showing on this. And in the green there, that particular threshold showing up at, let me see if I can get a probe, where you see that green, that little green dot. That's where we are picking up against significant rotation with this storm. The storm west of Madisonville had a small TDS signature. I'm going to take a look at that with it in the rural swampland areas, keeping a close eye on the storm as it's starting to look much better. I agree. And there's the latest. Ooh, yeah, latest velocity scan. We are looking at gate-to-gate shear right now at about 100 miles an hour. About 100. So it went up from 80 to 100 mile per hour gate-to-gate. There's your inrod. And now that's normalized rotation. Now let's take you back over to, I want to mark that highest normalized rotation. I'll put a little red marker in the middle of that. And that way I can come on over, take a look at SRV, at storm relative velocity, and then we compare that to correlation coefficient. And this is that area. It's not a guarantee, but I think that's probably what that is. That's probably a touchdown. We call that a TDS. It's not a real clear one. It's not over the top. But the Weather Service is looking at it and they're like, yeah, that may be. I agree. That's probably some debris up in the air. And if it is debris up in the air, then you know the tornado's on the ground. That's how that works, TDS. All right, so tornado warning in effect for just north of Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana. Okay, Ashara Jade, where's your location? That's right, Jacob, thank you. Take you back over to our other radar unit. And here's a look at the we're on analyst now. Let's go back over to the Kappell cast, showing the kind of a broader view of what's going on. That new tornado warning issued. There's also a flash flood warning. I'm going to take that off so we can focus not on the marine stuff, but just the severe stuff. Oh, okay. There's a tornado warning also. This one is for Mobile Bay. All right, so this is further east. I'll have to investigate that in a moment. It's going to take another radar. Well, we can probably use this one for that purpose. So let's go on over to, let's see, that's probably going to be closer to, we'll leave it on this radar here. Let's take a look at velocity underneath it. Okay. Getting some spin. This tornado warning is for the panhandle. This is parts of the panhandle of of Alabama. This is west of Pensacola. And then I'll bring up this information on WSV3 in a moment. All right, so we've got two areas of interest that we're watching for you right now. Two possible rotating thunderstorms with possible tornadoes. The one confirmed. That's because they've got eyeballs on it. Let's go back over to that one. And it's got that signature. Velocity's down a little bit, though. Like maybe it might be cycling back up, which would be good for areas just west of Madisonville. It looks like that's where that circulation is going to move to. And from there, our friends out towards the Covington area will have to watch this. They did redefine that tornado warning area, shifted it just a little bit further west, kind of focused it west. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so that circulation seems to be coming down. Let me go back. Whoops, went too far back. All right, so it really spun up. Now it might be in a weakening phase, but Madison, west of Madison, and west side of Covington. I want you guys to go ahead and take your precautions, get into your tornado shelter. Thunderstorms, non-severe in New Orleans. Make your way further east. I'm gonna take radar out of Mobile to take this storm. Possible tornado developing. This is a radar indicated tornado. Goes until 12:30. So this was at about 11:49 Central Time. Tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 7 miles south of Point Clear, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. The storm will be located near Magnolia at 12:10 Central, Foley 12:25, and then Robertsdale, Summerdale, and Silver Hill at around 12:30. And I will say it's spinning hard. Yeah, that's a pretty good signature. There's likely a waterspout, maybe a large waterspout on top of Mobile Bay. Look at that. So I'm showing shear of over 100 mile per hour, 100 mile per hour gate-to-gate shear. This is at an elevation of 1,700 feet. There's a good chance that's picking up some stuff. Water, hopefully no boats. But you can see as it's really just spun up in the last couple of frames. Let's hope that this winds down before it makes its way towards shore. There's that track moving towards Magnolia Springs. It should be south of Point Clear. But that would make for a wild scene, being down there over the open waters of Mobile Bay. It'd be interesting to see if we can get some pictures out of that. Let me check with some of my sources on Twitter. In the meantime, I'm going to bring you guys back over to our other radar source, and you can take a look at these storms as we put them into motion for you. And what are you guys hearing? Are you all seeing anything? I want to come over and check out. So I need to add, give me a moment here. See if anybody's got a picture of that thing. I don't see it. All right, so there is okay. No, I'm not seeing pictures yet. Maybe too soon. Well, here's a video. Is it the actual tornado? Oh yeah. Oh, good video. Coming in from, is that Weather Underground? No. This is on Twitter of the one that touched down near Baton Rouge. I'll have that for you coming up in just a moment. We've got 35 people on here right now. Derek Rose on here. Mobile Bay has a live webcam at Fairhope Pier. Can't see anything other than rain off in the distance though. Well, thanks for that. Let me show you image of the tornado earlier near Baton Rouge. And this is this is captivating. Okay, because it looks like this thing was spinning and spinning very hard. So this is coming in from, I believe that's Weather Underground. That's their symbol, isn't it? But this is Estación BCP Meteor. I don't know my Spanish. Just watch. Again, this is just coming through on Twitter. Watch this storm. Look at that. Huh? Wow. See those transformers blowing up? Now that's a quick hitter. Another transformer there. That was, wow. Let's do that again. I'll go full screen for you. That's impressive. Look at that. I mean, it's churning hard. It's ripping things up. There's power flashes. You'll see a couple more here. And it's moving fast. Wow. That's impressive. Coming in from Renee's Industries. It's near Covenant, Louisiana. So, whew, some real deal severe weather out there today. No doubt. Okay, Nicole saw the video. She says it's very close to where she lives. There it is. Okay, Derek, let me know if you see anything on that webcam. I'll be interested. I'm going to go back over to our radar sources now. And still looking at pretty good circulation of the storm near Mobile. And they continue with that confirmed tornado warning near Covington. So I'm going to go to the Covington one first. Not Covenant, but Covington. All right, so National Weather Service out of New Orleans says main circulation is weak and going to keep the warning riding, but just a tiny bit longer to see if it spins back up. But yeah, he's seeing what I'm seeing is that it doesn't look as strong as it did. Here it is. Oop, analyst radar. Yeah, I think honestly, yeah, that circulation, it's not much. Like I said, a lot of these storms are very quick hitters. Like the video you just saw, that thing likely just dropped out. It may have been on the ground for a couple of miles, maybe 2-3 miles, and then lifted right back up. So that's kind of typical of these type of storms. It doesn't mean that they can't produce significant damage like that one that we were just watching. So you've got to be ready for it. That's why when the tornado watch is issued, you just kind of want to monitor the storms, you know. All right, we're going to take you back over to Mobile. And I'm going to take their radar source. It's a lot closer to that thunderstorm. And that'll take a moment for that to load. In the meantime, we'll come back over to our Kappellcast broader picture, showing that we've got that threat across the deep south. Area of low pressure. And it's not a strong low, but it doesn't have to be when you have this much moisture, this much heating. So you got that low that's approaching. You've got this warm front that's kind of laying right there. And you got an approaching cold front that's going to sweep through. I think this is going to put New Orleans in the safe zone. So the focus for the potential of tornadoes will focus east on that warm front primarily. So that I'm not surprised that we're seeing the development that we are in Mobile Bay. That would be the primary reason why. Going back over to our analyst radar, and I'm happy to say that the tornado that looked like perhaps was occurring over water, or the waterspout, excuse me, the circulation appears to be coming down some, so that may reduce the risk that it's actually on the ground or on the surface of the lake. But it would be coming on shore now. If it is there, take a look up, higher scans, yeah. So if there's a circulation, it's moving on shore now. So that's Magnolia Springs. That is eventually Summerdale, Foley. I don't know if it'll reach as far north as Robertsdale, but it's worth watching. I mean, it's spinning. There's no doubt. Let me take a look at your INROT. You can see it's not spinning nearly as hard as it was, though, when it was over the water. Here's another video coming in from this one, Dave Nussbaum. Is he out of New Orleans or Baton Rouge? I believe that's New Orleans. WWL TV. And let me get that up for you. Okay. All right, so here you go. Almost looks like there may have been multiple funnels at one point there. I always prefer it when they do the videos in landscape format as opposed to the up and down this way. It's easier, it's better for the various medias you want to play it back on. But that's from Zach Dufresne. Zach Dufresne sharing that video. Again, that's from Covenant, Louisiana, where obviously that storm did do some damage, it looks like. And I'm taking a look out of Alabama, see if we're getting anything from the Mobile area, and I'm not seeing anything right now. All right, we've got about 40 people on here currently. Thanks for being a part of the program. This is Weather Live Now. It's a channel I launched just a few weeks ago, and purpose of the channel is to track higher end severe weather threats. That's the focus, but also when population centers are being impacted. Today was kind of a hybrid. I knew there was some tornado activity. I tried to time it out to when it was going to be impacting some of the larger cities like New Orleans. New Orleans, you're in the clear, so I'm not expecting bad weather for you, but about the time that I was going to go into a forecast discussion, tornadoes started appearing. So we changed our cap mode. So we just want to watch to be careful, make sure that we're covering it the best that we can. So those are some quick hitters. We showed you video, again, from close to Baton Rouge near the town of Covenant, which appeared to have been doing quite a bit of damage there for a little while. Right now, we've got, let's see if the other warning's still out there. It is, but they're going to let that go. So the main focus will be on this storm making its way into far southeastern Alabama. That is, a tornado warning remains in effect until 12:30. So 12:30 Central Time, about another 25 minutes. That's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It was located 7 miles south of Point Clear. Tornado warning does continue for. They're going to keep the one on the north of Lake Pontchartrain. That's for Tamiami. Is that Tamiami County? And we'll go back and we'll look at that again in just a moment. The storm moving into. I want to look at some meso-analysis. This storm's got my attention right now. It's going to cross to the east of Mobile along that Interstate 10 corridor. Is it 10? I believe. And so this is definitely worth watching. It's going into an area that does have, a decent population. So that's Interstate 10. Right now, the warning is south of there, but there's going to be several communities that could be impacted by the storm. The storm right now looks like it's the draw, and it does appear to be strengthening. Now, I want to take a look at echo tops. We'll put echo tops on the right. It is increasing in height. I think this storm can cause some problems, and I want to watch it. Let's see if we can get some communities on here. We'll go to our other radar source in just a moment to be able to do that. In the meantime, if you guys haven't already shared the program, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell. That's how you get notified that I'm on, covering severe weather live. And this is, let's hope this doesn't turn into a situation, but there's no guarantee that it won't. It's a pretty strong storm. And again, there's a lot of communities that are going to be in line for this. So let's go back over. Okay, so you can see that storm, and it is growing in intensity. I want to take a look at storm relative velocity on this and see if we can't identify that greatest area of rotation. All right, I'm going to put a track. This is going to be a manual storm track. As it moves off towards the east-northeast, what is that, 30, 35 miles per hour or so. So these are the towns that look like could be impacted shortly. Foley 122, Summerdale 124. That's if it maintains current heading. Okay, there's back over to reflectivity. And a broader look, I don't want to totally ignore the other storm, but this appears to be the problem. It is growing in intensity. And I'm trying to keep up, and let me see what the Weather Service is saying. Local storm reports out of Livingston County reports trees and power lines down by a possible tornado. Is that Covenant? Is that from the Covenant location? I'm curious. Livingston County, I think that is the one earlier. And then also, I need to get into another chat room. Give me a moment. I'm going to jump into Mobile's chat room. All right, new information coming in from the National Weather Service. And indeed, I need to get into Mobile. We'll have that up for you in just a moment. Weather Service right now. Okay, well that's great. That's Weather Service out of Jackson, Mississippi, alerting us to tropical weather. We're not going to focus that right now. North Shore storm will be allowed to expire at 12:15, but as always, keeping a close eye on storm threat. Okay, thank you for that. Give me a moment. We'll get into Mobile. Okay, I've got that chat up now, so we can see what they're saying in real time about this developing threat. Storm is developing. It's getting stronger. There's the velocity. And it's kind of I say it's reorganizing now that it's kind of come over land. That's going to affect the circulation. Obviously, they're concerned with it, though. That's the reason why they're keeping that severe thunderstorm warning. Sorry, I had you on the wrong radar source there for a moment. This is the one that you should be looking at. And again, Magnolia, that circulation getting very close to you right now. Okay. Derek Rose reporting. I saw the storm pass on the port webcam. Lots of high wind and very heavy rain and moved through pretty quickly. All right, new information coming in from, this is Mobile, where they're going to continue the tornado warning. Radar indicated for Baldwin, Alabama. That goes until 12:30 Central Time. At 12:10, about a minute ago, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 4 miles west of Magnolia Springs, or 7 miles southeast of Point Clear, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. So we want to watch this as it makes its way onshore, and I also wanted to kind of diagnose what the atmosphere is doing. I'm going to take a look at some meso-analysis numbers off of our WSV3 radar. Okay, so New Orleans National Weather Service chiming back in. The storm south of Marrow is trying to tighten back up, watching it closely. If there's new reports from the area, please pass along ASAP. Well, we don't want to ignore them, so let's see what that storm is doing. And we'll come back to this one in just a moment. Again, it's very close to Magnolia. I don't see a threat on the ground right at the moment. I don't believe it's on the ground. Sorry, as I reframe that. just one more look. Again, the circulation, it's not what it was, but the storm it's a hefty thunderstorm, and it does bear watching. We'll come back to that. We're going to go back over to the storm north of Lake Pontchartrain. I know there's a lot of wind shear in this area here, which may help it. So we'll take you out of the New Orleans radar, which is located near Slidell, Louisiana. I have that information up in just a moment. That storm does look like it's taken on an interesting characteristic, though. Just the shape of it. Okay. Okay, they're working on an upgrade to the tornado warning from Marrero. It will include, oh wow, New Orleans proper is going to be included. Never mind. Okay, so it's the new storm down here. I thought New Orleans may be out of the woods. They're not. All right, let's go back to New Orleans, Louisiana, everybody. Maybe get to help get the word out, depending on the situation. Okay, so I'm looking out of the radar and I see the circulation that they're talking about currently. So that south side of New Orleans, it looks like, could be impacted by a rotating thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. That's a tornado warning for Jefferson and Orleans, Louisiana, until 1 p.m. The storm capable of producing a tornado was located near Harvey, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So you can see they did. They popped it right on top of New Orleans. I was really hoping New Orleans would be in the clear, but seeing just enough rotation for them to go ahead and issue that. So that's New Orleans proper. You have the storm to the north. It's really not producing that much circulation at all, so they're just going to let that one go. And we'll come back to the Mobile storm, but again, we're seeing a major population center that's now under a tornado warning. So I want to bring some attention to that, and we're going to leave it here for just a moment. I want to pass this information along to my social feeds, namely Twitter. So give me a moment while I work on this, if you guys don't mind sharing, just in case, we've got a friend, relative, a friend of a friend that lives down there in the New Orleans area. We want to make sure that they're getting the best warning possible. I'm going to let my radar loop for a moment while I do this, and I'm going to get you on the correct radar. That's New Orleans right here. It's being impacted by, again, a tornado warning. It's basically the potential is there for it to develop. They're seeing the spin near Woodmere right now, and so they went ahead and they warned all of New Orleans. So give me a moment while I get this information out, and we'll get back to tracking the storm in just a moment. Again, one of the missions of this channel is that whenever a larger metropolitan area is impacted, even with a low risk of tornadoes, we want to cover that. So that's part of the reason why we're on here right now, is to give our friends to the south a heads up that there is rotation within a thunderstorm. A tornado warning has been issued for New Orleans, Louisiana. So it's not a guarantee it's happening, but it means that conditions are favorable for that to occur. We have seen a number of touchdowns so far today out of this storm, and it continues to impact, again, our friends over the deep south. But New Orleans, sizable town, we've seen these storms spin up very fast, and I don't want to miss it, just in case that this one spins up right on top of the city of New Orleans, because that could very well cause some major problems. Okay, so I'm getting this tweet out now in real time. If you are on Twitter, you don't follow me, find me. It's Jeremy Kappell. Kappell, by the way, spelled with a K. Good job on this. Okay, that is away. And thank you for waiting. So let's go right back over to our streaming coverage. Tornado warning issued for portions of New Orleans, Louisiana. We are seeing a rotating thunderstorm that's moving through that part of the state right now. Very highly populated area, so that's why we do want to spend additional time. Pay just careful attention on what's happening down here. Jacob says there are about 430,000 people in the New Orleans area. The Big Easy is already flooded without rain. That's coming in from Ashara. Of course, you know they're very low area. So Jacob, thank you for continuing to moderate. I'm looking over my radar sources here as we speak, trying to assess the threat. Again, multiple storms are watching. I'm still concerned about the storm over there east of Mobile. We'll come back to that. Right now, we are looking at and focusing on New Orleans just because of its population and its size. So here's a look over at our WSV3 radar showing you the entire threat area. Tornado watch does include far southern sections of Mississippi. It does include all far southeastern Louisiana, and it does extend its way into the panhandle of Alabama and far western panhandle of Florida, where it looks like they've extended that tornado watch to include Pensacola. So this area, watching low pressure that's moving in. Take off your, so we've got a low pressure center. And it's located right about here. And so we're seeing that counterclockwise rotation associated with that low pressure area. You've got a warm front that's right there along the coast, and a cold front that's making its way into New Orleans right now. Once that cold front sweeps through, the threat for severe will go down. But in the meantime, that whole area kind of under the gun. Talking about a tremendous amount of moisture down there too. So very, very high, what we call Cape Day. All right, so looking at the new radar returns and a couple areas of interest. So best circulation might be here. It looks like it may be, yeah, that is it. But it's not overwhelming. We're about 1,400 feet off the ground. We'll see what the storm produces. Got about 40 people on here live. Thank you for being on here. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. And also hit the notifications button for next time that I'll pop on. This is a new channel designated to tracking higher end severe threats and also severe threats that affect populated areas such as this one. So that's the reason why we're on here. Appreciate you guys very much. Am in contact with the National Weather Service out of New Orleans, and this is what they are saying. They're saying the tornado warning for New Orleans was a radar indicated tornado. That's what I'm watching as well. New information coming in just now. This is New Orleans says the National Weather Service out of New Orleans says tornado warning remains in effect until 1 p.m. Central Time for a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Tarrytown or over Timber Lane, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. So this is a pretty quick mover. It's not really messing around. And I want to also say there's another rotating thunderstorm that's going to pass to the south of New Orleans. We might want to pay a little bit of attention to. But the one over the city right now is the one that they're concerned with, and I will say that circulation is tightening up a little bit. Looking at some shear in the order of about, I'd say broad shear in the order of about 50 to 60 knots. I'm looking over at normalized rotation, getting a little bit of normalized rotation here. You can see south side of New Orleans right now, very populated area. If there's a tornado, if there's a funnel cloud, I have no doubt it's going to pop up on the Twitter feed very quickly. I'm going to see if I can't monitor that while I'm talking to you guys about this. Watching New Orleans very closely. Okay, and I don't see any pictures coming in yet. We'll continue to monitor. Okay, that storm, if it holds together, it's going to be located near Chalmette. It's near Timberlane right now, um, just south of Gretna, and is it Arabi? Arabi, perhaps. That's all part of this tornado warning. It goes for a while. I think the storm is gaining organization, and it's going to move out of this warning area so fast that they're going to have to reissue. Areas further east, heads up. I think likely the Weather Service will have to warn that area as well. Good news is it may move out of New Orleans proper before reaching the ground, but you got to treat it as if it is on the ground, as we have seen these storms are moving so fast. The spin-ups are just like that. So that's the reason they're treating this the way that they are. We've seen a number of these tornadoes reach the ground, causing damage, but they lift up almost as fast as they drop. So want to monitor closely. Again, New Orleans, Louisiana, that's a tornado warning for you. New information coming in from the National Weather Service right now. Okay. Looks like getting damage report coming in from near Station 62. Do you guys know where that's at? Near Station 62. The tornado warning for Baldwin, they're going to allow that to expire, which is good. So that was the other storm that we were watching south and east of Mobile. That way we can continue to focus on this. So where is that? So damage from Station 62. Where is that? Let me ask them. Okay, fire department, Station 62. I'm still waiting to get a location, but obviously, potentially tornado or potentially could be produced by wind, just high wind. There's your analyst radar showing you again the threat over New Orleans, Louisiana. See that circulation as it's been moving just south of downtown. The storm does appear to have that characteristic supercellular shape to it. Rotation is evident, but it's not that organized. So we'll continue to monitor. Owen, is Brent good? Who's Brent? Is it a town? Let me see. Did we see a town of Brent on here? Where is it? I don't know your location if you're asking about a specific town. Arabi, says Rob Smith. Thank you. Jacob passing along some news about an Exxon Mobil pipeline that was hit. Salt Dome and Sorrento was hit by a tornado this morning. Okay, Jacob, thank you for that information, and thank you for continuing to moderate with this live feed of Weather Live Now. Watching potential tornadic rotation very close to New Orleans, Louisiana. That's the Weather Service chiming in with something new. Circulation located now on the southeast side of the city. They issue a tornado warning. This is a new tornado warning coming in at 10:27 for Orleans, Bernard. Okay, that's what I said they'd have to do, is issue another one downstream because it's moving as fast as it is. But it does include the town of Chalmette, and then Arabi, as I was told, Arabi and Chalmette. Again, this appears to be a supercell thunderstorm, getting that rotating updraft that's moving over very close to the east side of the city right now. Make your way further north, other storms that are rotating, but no tornado warnings associated with them right now. That's up here just north of, is that 55 that runs north-south? Yeah, so that's going to be located east of Interstate 55. Thunderstorms with definite rotation, but no tornado warnings associated with them right now. There was another storm that I've been watching. There's also showing characteristics of some rotation as well, but this is in an area that's very rural. I mean, this is all swampland down here, so could impact a few gators. Not a lot of people, which is good. But Point Alahatche, that holds together. That could impact you. So main threat area here, making its way through the New Orleans area right now, mainly east of town, and that's where the warning is for. Bring you guys back over to our other radar unit and get a broader perspective of everything that's happening outside right now. Again, name of the program is Weather Live Now. I am certified by the American Meteorological Society. I've got 20 years of broadcast experience and a lot of severe weather experience. I actually worked in portions of Mississippi for a while, covered New Orleans weather, covered weather in Texas, Kansas, the Ohio River Valley, and now the Great Lakes. And now I'm here to cover weather for you guys here on this YouTube channel. So thanks for being here. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get to what the Weather Service has now. I'm hearing some activity coming in. They're just saying, hey, strong thunderstorms elsewhere across the area. It was a large waterspout. Here we go. Here we go. That one over Mobile. We get to see the picture here. This is coming in from Brandon Smith, waterspout. We were watching the storm over the bay, and I said that's got to be doing business, and it is. It's a large waterspout. I'll see if I can get that up real quick. Let's go. And this is coming in from our friend Brandon Smith. Oh, here it is. Oh, wow. Okay, you guys are going to like this. There you go. So, wow, they're really lucky that thing lifted. They are lucky. We may have to go back and watch that storm again after this, too. Take a look. This is what it looked like. This is coming in from NBC 15. And that's picking up a lot of water. Yeah, yeah. And the Weather Service is talking about the difference between a typical summertime waterspout. Usually they're very thin, pretty benign. And this is a mesocyclone, or one produced by a supercell thunderstorm. So had this been over land, we'd have problems. That would be bad. That's courtesy Sally Mills. So let me make sure I get a retweet out on that. That's a no-doubter. That's Mobile Bay. We were watching that just a little while earlier. That potential there for a large water spout indeed. Fortunately, that storm, as it came on shore, weakened some, but we may want to go back and look at it again. Watching the New Orleans storm at the moment, it is still there. They've got the warning. It just looks pretty disorganized to me. So hopefully that's good, that there's nobody in immediate danger. And then they've allowed the other storm warning to expire, but I want to investigate anyway. We'll go on over there in a moment. Here's the entire area, the threat. Again, it's a tornado threat. And to the deep south, we have seen confirmed tornadoes. One located near the town of Covenant, where it was doing damage earlier before the program is over. I may try to show that video again. It's a very captivating video. I'll have that up for you in a moment. If you follow me on Twitter, I'm retweeting that now. That's the tornado near Covenant. Okay. Just watching the Twitter feeds here, see if there's any new information that's coming in. I think it's fairly quiet at the moment. Going back over to the Mobile radar, and I'm happy to say that storm has fallen apart. I'll show you that. So this is the storm that produced that picture, that waterspout we were just looking at, which to me, that's not a waterspout. To me, that's a tornado that just happens to be over water. There's a difference. So still showing some rotation with that, but again, the storm looks weaker. I did want to check in with our friends over at the Storm Prediction Center. I want to check their meso-analysis and see what's happening out there, the thermodynamics, what it's capable of. And you know, I'm happy to say that this threat may move offshore for most of the area within the next couple of hours. I know that the tornado watch goes till 5 p.m., but most of the energy is now, it's off the coast. I'll see if I can show you that. So that's good. All right, we'll watch this. Again, there's no warning on that storm, so we're going to go back to New Orleans where the warning does continue. I'll have that loaded for you in just a moment. In the meantime, we've got about 40 people on here currently. Rob Smith on here talking about he went through a tornado when he was in Atlanta. That's never a fun time. Rob Smith, no problem. He's in his bathtub with 2 dogs right now. So are you in New Orleans, I'm assuming? Here's a look at the latest from New Orleans. And we're seeing the Weather Service chiming in again. They continued the tornado warning for New Orleans until Orleans County, excuse me. That goes until 1 p.m., about another 25 minutes. The storm, it's a radar indicated thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, was near East New Orleans, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. And, you know, it's a little underwhelming when it comes to what I'm seeing on radar. You know, it's rotating, but it's just not a lot. I don't know. Keep forgetting to mute my phone. That's my wife. I'll call her back. Send her a little note here. Actually, I'll just tell her. Hey. No, I'm actually on YouTube covering severe weather right now, so. Okay, well. Anyway, you're heading to your interview? Yes. Okay. What time is it? Is it 2 or 2:30? 2:30. Okay, if I get off here before then, I'll call you. All right. Okay, love you too. Bye. All right, sorry about that interruption. So, tornado warning for eastern New Orleans or East New Orleans. I'm not overwhelmed by it. So I think, you know, stay put. The storm's not going to last long. It'll lift out of there pretty quickly. But I think the threat is under control. In the meantime, yeah, watching the trends on our meso-analysis, there's so much convection that's making its way towards the coast. That may just push that threat right over the open waters, and that'll be just fine by me. Although we are seeing some redevelopment further north. Let me see if I can't bring up a look at the satellite out of that area. I want to see what heating is doing. If we're seeing that heating inland. Okay, so if that's the case, then, and I'm looking at it now, I'm going to show you in a second. I want to make sure we get this up. Okay, I'm going to take you, this is, all right, this really helps to tell the story. Okay, so we have these spinning thunderstorms. I'm going to take you over to radar, and let me resize this. Excuse me, this is the visible satellite, where if you're following with me here, you can see that low pressure as it's spinning. That low located now very close to the Louisiana-Mississippi line, maybe just north of Louisiana, just north of New Orleans. Upper energy is lagging to the west as well, but you see all that clearing across portions of southern Mississippi, I'm just wondering if there's not enough heating to cause some problems there. So what I can throw on here is a CAPE, or convective available potential energy. And so as I'm talking to you, I'm watching those CAPE values increase into southern Mississippi to about 3,500 units, which is that's considerable. I want to take a look while this is looping. And you have to look at those lines very carefully. The orange ones, the warmer the color, the more the juice, if you will, the CAPE, the convective available potential energy. So while I've been saying that for the most part, we're watching the CAPE kind of get swept offshore, that's not true where you're seeing that sunshine, that heating, that visible satellite where you have a lack of clouds. So there may be a conditional threat, very narrow window, but a conditional threat right there. And that's very close to where the Storm Prediction Center does have that 5% risk of tornadoes. They do have it a little further north. So that is something of interest that I think should be monitored. I also want to kind of see what the effective shear is, and it's not currently all that strong there. It's stronger in the presence of the current thunderstorms, which are generally very close to the coast right now. I'm looking at various shear parameters, which give you an idea of the tendency for these storms to rotate and possibly produce tornadoes. All right, so there's that. Let's see, we've got about 40 people on here right now. I've got Maria Santiago. Good luck with your interview, wife, and I'll pass that along. And then otherwise, it looks like we're pretty quiet. Again, conditional threats out there right now. The active tornado warning, I want to come back and revisit that. So there's a look at the broad picture. Anywhere in the yellow, that's that tornado watch. I'll be curious about that thunderstorm that's making its way out of northeastern or far eastern Louisiana and into the Mississippi Panhandle. We'll investigate that in a moment. In the meantime, the only actual tornado warning is this one, and that is for eastern New Orleans, but it just never really got going, honestly. I say chances are you're probably safe. That warning goes a little while longer. That goes until the top of the hour. No, it says it's 1:30 Central Time. You can't. I don't think they're going to hold on to that for another 50 minutes. At least they shouldn't. There's the other storm that's been showing signs of rotation. Again, it's moving into an environment that's going to have better heating and instability with it. Looks like it had a little pop of some rotation right about there. Okay, so it's in that little hook feature. We'll watch the trends. Right now there's no warning on it, which is fine by me. Okay, we've got about 40 people on here currently, and I want to show you guys some of the videos that we were tracking earlier coming in from this was coming in from oh, what's this? All right, we do have some new images to pass along to you. All right, let's check this out. This is via Twitter. You can see here, this is from Steve Kappell. More pics coming in from the flipped over cars. It's near Baton Rouge General Hospital earlier this morning, possible tornado. And yeah, that's enough to cause for a pretty bad day there. Okay, this is obvious wall cloud. This is the one over New Orleans. Wall cloud, they're calling it. I don't know if that's so obvious. Could be a shelf, but we'll go with it. Wall cloud, New Orleans. This is another one. This is the New Orleans tornado warning again. Yeah, it's a thunderstorm, but not seeing any signs of funnel clouds, or just doesn't look all that threatening. Okay, so getting some flooding though. This is flooding coming out of New Orleans. At 110 at the Governor's Mansion curve, interstate has become a lake. That looks like a problem. So lots of flooding down there in New Orleans right now. See if I have any more pictures of that water spout. That was impressive. Showed this just a little while ago. Water spout that moved over Mobile Bay. To me, that's not a water spout. That's a tornado that's over the water. There's a difference. All right, so I wanted to show you that tornado from earlier. This is near Baton Rouge. This video is pretty impressive. I just retweeted this. Check it out. Look at that. Wow. That's a problem. And he's approaching that from the north side, which is always dangerous. But look how fast that was. I mean, that was so quick. You just don't want to be part of that. Let's replay that. Okay. And so he's approaching from the north. He should be moving in the other direction, not towards it. You see the power flashes. There's one there. Get a couple more as it goes through those power lines. There's one. There's another one. And just like that, it was gone. Another power flash there at the end. But pretty impressive video. That's from earlier. Again, that's very close to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. All right, let's get back over to live tracking. Just the one tornado warning at the moment. This is what it looks like on the east side of New Orleans right now. It sounds like they're updating that warning as we speak. They're going to say they continue it until 1:30. I just think that may be overdone. I just don't see it. Is there an updraft there? Yeah, rotating a little bit, but I just think that the threat for that thing dropping something, I mean, beyond the next 10 minutes maybe, because you have to understand that circulation is going to be outside of that box here in just a moment, if it's not already. Now what's this? This maybe just be some bad data. Yeah, more than likely. But I don't think, I think New Orleans was spared. I think that circulation's on the way out. So you're probably okay. Elsewhere across the area, that storm up there in, I don't know the name of these towns, Bush to Picayune. It's rotating, but it's just, it's not showing that much. It really isn't. Let's go over to the Mobile radar site. And that'll take a moment to load. Seeing more vigorous thunderstorm activity coming out of that area. We'll see if there's any rotation with that. In the meantime, I think that the threat is likely diminishing. Okay, so New Orleans, they canceled the tornado warnings for Orleans, Louisiana. So New Orleans, you're in the clear. So here's a look at the radar out of Mobile. And thunderstorms, yes. Not a lot of organization. So, with that being said, I don't see any reason for us to continue to monitor these for now. The threat, it's not going to completely go away. The one storm that I think is more interesting, maybe the one, I mean, you know what I think this is? Could definitely have the potential of more waterspouts coming on shore. I'll show you from these storms approaching Pensacola. That right here. So I think there's a conditional threat there. You could have some more waterspouts, and these are rotating thunderstorms, so maybe. Um, but outside of that, I don't think we're looking at a lot. We have the one storm, kind of the discrete cell that's located near, I'm going to try that name again, Picayune? Picayune? I have no idea how to say that. That probably bears watching. The storm in New Orleans, again, it's just not organized. So maybe we'll take another look at the storm north of New Orleans. I have that back up on analyst radar here in just a moment. The tornado warning does continue east of New Orleans, but again, I'm just not impressed. I'm not impressed. There you go. That's another thing in this program that you're going to find that you won't find on a lot of other channels on YouTube, is that you're not going to get a lot of sensationalism here. I'm not trying to hype, try to shoot you down the middle. There's too much sensationalism the way it is when it comes to media and weather. So we try to just kind of call it like we see it. Looking at the storm north, it's not looking that impressive. That structure, it's not rotating very hard at all, nor is the one located to the east of New Orleans, Louisiana, where the tornado warning does continue technically until 1:30. Okay, so they did cancel the one for Orleans, though. Orleans County is completely out. Seeing quite a bit of thunderstorm activity in the panhandle of Alabama, now moving into far western panhandle of Florida, where thunderstorms will continue to be a potential. All right, so I think I'm good. You guys good? I appreciate you all being on here. I don't see any reason to hold you guys hostage, though. Could there be a brief spin up by this point forward? Sure. Like I said, I'd be watching those storms right there on the immediate coastline of southeastern Mobile Bay, and then also into the far western panhandle of Florida, maybe approaching the Pensacola area, maybe. But otherwise, I'm going to go on about my day. I've got some things to get done. I'll monitor. If conditions warrant, we'll come back on here in the meantime. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, no matter where you're located. Hopefully, you have a great week, and if I don't talk to you guys sooner, I'll be monitoring again remotely. I appreciate you all being here. If you haven't already subscribed to the program, please consider doing that. Hit the subscription button, and then hit the notification bell. That way you know next time I pop on this channel. It's pretty new, just been up for a few weeks, and tracking mainly higher end severe weather events, tornado threats, but also areas experiencing severe weather that also have larger population centers. So that's kind of our mission. I want to send a quick thanks out to Jacob Gooding for helping to moderate this feed, and that's it. You guys have a great afternoon. We'll be back. We'll be chatting again soon enough. As mentioned, if you head on into the weekend and I don't talk to you sooner, make sure it's a good one. We'll talk to you guys later.